Hello guys, Chocolate Hammer here, bringing you another video after a pretty long break, and today is going to be an odd one, as it will be my personal power rankings for the NA LCS 2017 Spring. As this is my personal list, feel free to comment down below and tell me all about how you disagree with my opinion, but nonetheless I think my justification is at least a little valid. All that being said, let's get right into it and hopefully you'll enjoy this video. So in 10th place we are going to have Team Envious, purely because they did not make any significant changes apart from importing Lyra in place of Proxin. Xerath is now not even a top tier top laner anymore with the addition of the likes of Looper or Sunday, and Ninja, while a skilled individual, does not compare to the likes of Bjergsen or Jensen, judging from his solo queue adventures in the NA and his Season 6 performance. It is the bot lane that in my opinion is the nail in the coffin though. Apollo and Hakuro seem to be a mid tier bot lane at best, and with no standout individual in their roster filled with mediocrity, it will be hard for Envy to keep their playoff spot from last split, or maybe even avoid relegation, seeing that challenger teams are seriously stacked this split. As it stands, Envy is to me a weaker version of Dignitas, and on paper a failed copy of Team Impulse from Season 5, with a stronger top side of the map in comparison to the bot. I honestly don't see him getting out of the relegation zone, but maybe their coach Miracle will pull a miracle. Now in the 9th place we have Echo Fox. As much as I love the organization and Rick Fox, I think putting Echo Fox in 9th is a reasonable decision for now. It is not a risky thing to say Looper is one of, if not the best top laner in their entire LCS, but the rest of the team have no chance of taking that title for their respective roles. Although I believe Acadian and Gay are underrated by the community, they are still not top of the LCS caliber quite yet. Froggen has also been having quite the downtime in the past seasons. However, statistically he does not present himself that bad, and I do believe he still has it in him to put up a good fight against the best. The two biggest question marks in this roster are Keith and the language barrier. The former is not having a great time ever since his run on Team Liquid, and we are yet to see if a seemingly better support can peel the Lucian better. The language barrier is a massive question mark though, with Looper being the lone Korean on the team. It might be hard for him to integrate in the American culture, and he may in result, like many other imports, turn homesick. Looper also knows limited English, but I'm sure this will be fixed over the time as the team synergizes. Overall, I'm definitely sure Echo Fox can be an underdog of the entire split, and might even clinch a playoff spot, but seeing the difficulties in their way, it is highly unlikely, in the spring split at least. In the number 8 spot, I've decided on FlyQuest, a team that mixes veterans and rookies. Had they kept contracts in their team, I would have probably rated them higher because of the team communication, etc. Because honestly, despite the backlash for the performance in the sinking ship called TL last season, Moon does have potential, and who better to unlock that potential than Hai, the renowned legendary shot caller and former jungler. In the bot lane, things are also looking up for FlyQuest, with Lemon likely to help the coach, whoever it might be, draft a good team comp which will be particularly significant in the split's 10-man system. That'll put FlyQuest in an advantageous position. Heard of Altec, who is, in my opinion, massively underrated following his mediocre split on NRG, it could be interesting to see how far this bot lane can actually go. On the other hand, we have Balls in the top lane, who I feel fell off in Season 6. He has not looked as dominant in the challenger scene, but he is an experienced player, so I believe he can step up his game for the upcoming split. Since this team is folding an all North American roster, language barriers are not an issue, and the only real problem I have with ranking this team any higher is the gap the players took in competitive play. Moon became an analyst for Team Liquid, Hai appeared more as a businessman rather than a player, and Lemon was coaching Cloud9. So while the talent and experience makes him a wildcard, it is highly possible that the seasonal changes might give him a challenge. The next one I feel might come off as a surprise, but in the 7th place I have Team Liquid. I don't think Liquid is capable of reaching the destined 4th place or even reaching playoffs this split, but they will be 4th from bottom if that counts. In my eyes, Liquid lost the preseason battle pretty badly, which is underwhelming given I expected a good roster after they picked up Rainova, who destroyed his opposition in the past 2 seasons. Pair Rainova with Lolo, Golden Glue and Matt though, and you go from a top team to a middle of the pack team pretty fast. While the players themselves are not necessarily bad, they do need time to improve, and that unfortunately means that even with Rainover and Piglet in the lineup, Team Liquid isn't going anywhere near the top spots this split. What also confused me is the addition of Link to the lineup to rotate games with Golden Glue. This in my mind shows that Team Liquid isn't really satisfied with their mid lane options. For those reasons, I put Team Liquid behind the top 6, of which all can fight for the top spots. Now at number 6 I have Immortals, who I have to admit disappointed me in a similar manner to Team Liquid. Not only did they have an arguably worse showing than TO at IEM, but they were looking to build a roster that would top the one from last season. After acquiring Dardoch and pairing him with Po Belter to have the best non-import jungler and mid laner in the same team, I'd expect more. However, by no means am I saying that this team is bad. In fact, it is at least top 3 on paper. But whether it is the players not synergizing or the communication barrier blocking them from doing so, they did look shaky in the IEM games. Of course, I'm not able to compare them to anyone apart from really Team Liquid, and comparing them to Team Liquid wouldn't have much sense given Liquid have less communication issues. The other problems I see with this team is that Cody is so far unexperienced in the LCS and may crumble under the pressure, which we actually saw happen a little bit at IEM. Lastly, we don't know how the team atmosphere will be like, and it is a very important factor. Being an LMS enthusiast, I know that Ole is an extremely talented player, but many players called him out on being a hypocrite and ruining the team atmosphere. Add a little bit of Dardoch to the mix, and even I have no idea where that might end up. Overall, I think Immortals will be a lot stronger in the summer than in the spring, and in the spring they'll ultimately have to sell with the 6th place. Moving on to team number 5 is going to be Phoenix 1. The team that was disregarded by virtually everyone last split is coming back with some sweet roster upgrades, keeping their superstar jungler Inari and top laner Zig. They acquired Adrian from Immortals and imported 2 top Koreans in Ryu and Arrow. Although the team might be one of those which look like the ones who are easily stopped by language barriers, do not be fooled, as both Ryu and Arrow have above average skills in English. Assuming Arrow and Ryu put in their hardest and Inari maintains his last season performances, this team could be a surprising contender for the top spots. Zig and Adrian on the other hand do not look as pleasing. As much as Zig is consistently mediocre in his performances in a season where good top laners are essential, he has a good work ethic and is striving to improve. On the other hand, Adrian reportedly has a big ego and a bad work ethic, according to Po Belter, which might put in a lot of negativity in a team with players who are as hungry for victories as this lot. Peaking at the number 4 spot is COG, who in the past I was always hesitant about, although time and time again they always came back and surprised me. So sorry COG fans, but I expect COG to actually do well this split. Considering COG made no roster changes and who he is constantly improving, this team could be the deadliest COG team yet. Although Darshan and Dex Smithy weren't the stars of COG last year, they're anything but bad and consistently showed their ability to win games. It is in the bot lane though where COG gets most of its power from, with the upcoming superstar Stixxay being quite possibly the best AD carry in the league. Pairing him with the all-star American support Afromu means that COG bot lane should fare well against literally anyone. The success of this team will most likely be dependent on whether their synergy is as high as it was in the previous splits and the aggressiveness of X Smithy, who showed more than once he is capable of carrying. Now, in place number 3 we have Team Solo Mid, who dominated the scene last split. Following the temporary retirement of Doublelift, the team decided to pick up their former AD carry, Wild Turtle. While Bjergsen continues being the best player in the West, I think this is the split where TSM takes downfall. Not only was Doublelift instrumental in making Biofrost look like one of the best supports in NA, but Turtle's aggressive playstyle might not be beneficial looking at the state of Marksman. Haunter is to date considered a consistent top laner of a huge room to improve, and so far he is making phenomenal progress. That said, Svenskeren only started playing like a top tier jungler during World Championships, and while it could have been a good preview of things to come for TSM, it still remains a big question mark. Now that Weldon has gone to Europe to support G2 esports, TSM might look shaky in their first weeks of the split, which might ultimately cost them in the long run. In the second place I have an interesting team, also called Team Dignitas. I honestly did not expect the organization to get such a team, and it appears that this is the first time an organization is banking on a Korean environment as much as this one. Why I have such high opinions of this roster though is not because of the players, but primarily because of the coaching staff. Coaches Kim Jong-soo and Park Jae-suk from Spenu and Samsung Galaxy respectively. The coaches have admitted in the interviews that they will create a team environment as close to the Korean one as possible, and while this is a huge gamble, it might pay off huge. As I mentioned earlier, this team is a straight up better version of Team Envious and boasts possibly the best top laner and jungler in the world when looking at 2015, who openly stated they joined because of the coaching staff. Putting Sunday and Chaser in the roster with a Korean speaking non-import mid and Keen is also a great maneuver. This not only helps reach the Korean environment the coaches were talking about, but it will also help break the language barrier so the team can hopefully fare better at the start of the split. In the bot side we have Lord and Xpecial, who let's face it are not the greatest bot lane, but Xpecial has been receiving some unjustified hate. Now per the Lord, who was funnily enough in a similar situation on Envy last split and played above expectancy, they could make a bot lane who will maybe not always win, but never lose thoroughly either. And now finally in the number 1 spot I believe Cloud9 will take it all this split. Not only is their roster filled with high level consistent players, but they honestly looked TSM level last split in the playoffs. While they did make one roster change replacing Meteors with contracts, it doesn't affect the language barriers within the team, and a young talented aggressive jungler will be key to Cloud9's success in the coming split. Having a top jungle duo of a caliber of impact and contracts, both of whom can provide a ton of early pressure, can easily get Cloud9 to the later stages of the game, where their synergy and teamwork is bound to show. Because their coach Reapert is doing a very good job coaching the C9 squad, and I can't wait to see what he came up with in the break. And while their teamwork isn't quite COG level, it is near the top of the league. So as long as Jensen keeps doing what he is doing, and as long as the bot lane doesn't pull what they did against Samsung in the World Championship, I believe there will be no one strong enough to stop Cloud9 in becoming the kings of the spring split. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed the video and some Bonobo plays in the background. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and definitely voice your opinion on your own power rankings in the comments section down below. Also, make sure to leave suggestions for future videos you would like to see, and I'll try my best to attempt doing them.